Hello, crafting friends, and welcome to Crescent Moon Crafts, where we always ask, what's on the crafting table today? Well, today we have the fourth installment of our Quilled farm animal magnetic note and or photo clip. And today we're doing a barn owl. The barn owl is super simple to make, lots of fun, so cute, and it comes together really quickly. Now, I've done several of these that aren't farm animal related, but I wanted to keep this series relatively simple because this is a great way to introduce you into the art of quilling. And if you haven't been quilling for a while, it's a good jump start back into the quilling art. And it helps you to maybe go for those more difficult animals, such as the donkey or the deer. All right, you know what time it is. It's time to head over to the project box. But before we do, make sure that you pause the materials and tools slide. And also, there is a shape guide slide immediately after that that will help you learn the shapes that are needed to make this owl. We will be learning one new shape for this project, so get ready. Let's get crafting. Welcome back to the crafting table. All right, we're going to open up our project box and go over that materials and tools list just to make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to the materials and tools. So for the paper, you'll need 3mm strips of paper in a lot more colors than that sheep that we did. So you'll need a golden color, 15, and that's the wrong size, but 15 7/8 in a 3mm golden color. You'll need a 3mm orange, 3mm black, and the example here is a brown. So if you have gathered the color brown, that's fine, perfectly fine. Y'all, I have made green ones of these owls. So whatever color that you choose is fine. I ran out of brown. So I switched gears and went with a gray owl. So I will be using gray for this owl. I'm going to be doing light gray at 3mm. Again, if you have brown, perfect. If you have white, great. Make a white owl. Like I said, I've made them in green. So those are the colors that we'll need for the owl itself. So I'm going to be making a little bit different color of owl, but the shapes will remain the same. That's the important thing, right? Okay, so let's go over the strip lengths just to make sure. Now, what I mean by backing paper on that materials list, I just wanted to go over that real quick because you might be going, what? That is something new that I'm introducing. So backing paper is just literally cardstock of the same color that you are making your shapes and your owl parts on. So orange would obviously be used for the beak and the feet, and the body color, wings and body color, would have the same backing color. So I'm using gray, so I'm going to use a gray backing color. Now, I'll show you how and what these are going to be used for specifically in a little while, but what you do is basically you make your shape and you glue them on here and then you cut them out. And the reason for that is it just gives it a little bit more of a solidified color. It's not as see-through, and it looks a little bit better to me. I mean, I don't know. You don't have to do this, but that's just part of what I like to do specifically for like this owl. Okay, so for the body, we are going to need 2 15 and 7/8 or 2 full length 3mm strips that we will be doing into a loose teardrop shape. So there's those 2. You will need for the wings 2 more full length 15 and 7/8 3mm strips, same color as the body. The eyebrows, you're going to need 1 full length strip 15 and 7/8 of the same color that you are going to cut in half and then shape that into a shaped marquee. That's our new shape that we'll be learning how to do. Then for the eyes, you will need a golden color and a black color, 2 full-length strips glued end to end, just like I have here. Oops, there we go. Just like I have here, glued end to end. Okay, so you'll need a set of those. Then for the beak and the feet, you will need 1 full-length orange strip that will be cut down into 4-inch strips that we will coil up into loose teardrops. Okay, and that is all of the paper that you will need to make this owl. So like I said, it comes together really quickly. Okay, for the tools, I'm not introducing any new tools for this project, so that's a bonus also as well. But again, as usual, you might need a ruler, glue, obviously, can't do a quilling project without it. We will need our circle guide, so that's coming back. And you need your quilling tool, your slotted quilling tool. You will need your angled pliers, needle tool, maybe. Again, I always bring it. Scissors. For the peg, you're going to need magnet tape, super glue, and your peg. Now for this one, I don't have a paint pen because for the owl, for some reason, I just like it a little bit rustic looking. And then for the eyes, you're going to need some sort of gel pen. But the one that I have found that works the best is this Uniball Signo broad white pen. And I will forever buy this. I mean, this is the real deal. So this works really well. You will need one of these. Now that is if you prefer the little kawaii eyes. I am a big Sanrio fan, so I love the little kawaii eyes here, and I just think it makes it look a little bit more endearing. The owl looks a little bit more cute. All right, let's make us an owl. So to make the body of the owl, which I consider the body to be these 2 inner shapes here, these 2 teardrops, you'll need 2 of your full-length strips that are in the color that your owl is going to be in, your angled pliers or tweezers, I guess, needle nose tweezers, and your quilling tool, your slotted quilling tool, and your circle guide. And so we are going to size the body, these 2 loose teardrops, into a size 16 circle. So the number on the right, use the circle on the left. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll up our strip into a coil. Pop it off and kind of flatten it a bit. It doesn't have to be perfectly flat because it is going to be sized into a circle, so we're going to let it loose anyway. So that's okay, just as long as you have it relatively flat. Okay, so I'm going to 16 here. I'm going to go to the left, and I'm just going to let it go and fill up that circle. Okay, taking my tweezer, this side goes inside the middle circle, and this side goes outside the circle. So just squeeze and get in there. Make sure I have all of it, pop it out, and there's my tab. Turn it over, and then I'm going to glue this coil closed. Careful to keep the size. If you let go, it could get a little bit bigger. So just make sure you're careful to not let it go while you're gluing it down. Okay, so there we have that. And now I'm just going to go ahead and make it into a teardrop shape. So I'm going to use my thumb and on top and my forefinger in the back, and I'm going to grab that center and I'm going to pull it down while I make a point with these two fingers. So I'm going to pull it down and then make a point. Okay, so you should have something that looks like that. All right, and I'm just going to put them on here for size reference just to make sure. Yes, all right. So that is one part of his body. Now let's go ahead and do the other side. Okay, so now that we have two of the parts that are going to make this body, they're going to go ahead and be glued point to point, and that kind of makes it look like a heart shape. So the owl breast, if you will. So let's go ahead and glue those together. So I want to find my seam side, and that's where I want to put the glue on. So there's the seam where I closed it. And I'm going to put a strip of glue, not much, right on that side. And then I'm going to glue seam side to seam side together, point to point together. And I'm just going to press it in so that glue will adhere. And then sometimes you just have to hold it here for a little bit. Squeeze those two pieces together like that. And then that is the owl chest. I was going to explain the backing here for a minute. So we get this same color of backing cardstock that we're going to place here. And the other reason I like to have the backing cardstock for pieces like this is because loose teardrops tend to pop out. Now you can get in there with your glue gun and you can, put little dabs of glue inside each of these pieces here and try to make it to where it's not going to come out and pop out like that, because they tend to do that from time to time. So if I left it loose, the potential of it happening over time is high. So to avoid that, you can put it on something like this, which will help it glue down those pieces, because you'll be gluing in the back here onto something solid and keep it from popping out. The other advantage to that is that it gives the owl more of a solid look. So you can either go with a transparent look and take the risk of these kind of popping out over time, or glue them, take the time and glue each of these individual strips here on the inside. Just fine. It's just however you would like to do it. Or you could put it on here and then cut it out. I'm taking the option of gluing on and cutting out. You don't have to do that though. So I'm going to turn this over. It kind of really doesn't matter what side you use at this point. They're both kind of the same. But I'm going to put glue on the thicker edge of that teardrop shape and up top as well. So just around the edges of that teardrop shape. And by getting the glue on those ridges like that, that'll help it from popping out. Okay, and I'm going to take my pliers, tweezers here, turn it over, and I'm just going to put it on one of the corners here of this piece of paper. And you can still shape it while it's on here. And then press down, and now that will be adhered. Okay. So there's the difference like that. It gives that background. Okay. Now let's make the wings, which is the outer part here. And this is the crescent shape that goes around this shape here. So to make the outer wings here, we are going to roll up a full-length strip of the color of your choice and make that into a 17 circle and then shape that into a crescent shape. Now, the example I have here is that it is a transparent. I haven't put a backer on the wings on this example, but for this project, I think I'm going to change that and actually use a backer for the wings, just because I want to see how it looks and see how if I get a more uniform look to the owl. So we're going to take our full-length strip. You will need your needle tool for this, circle guide, angled pliers and or angled tweezers, glue, and roll it up. Pop it off and put it into the 17 circle. Get it all the way out. Grab it, pull it out, and there you have the tab. Glue it closed, and now we're going to make a circle. Now, I'm sorry, we have made a circle. We're going to make a crescent. Now, if you have watched the sheep video, it's like making that gumdrop shape for the top of the head, except this time we're going to be going a little bit further and bending that gumdrop shape. So you're essentially are going to start out by making a gumdrop shape. So we're going to hold it on either end, and we're going to press down into a point. And as we do that with our forefingers, we're going to press our forefingers down into our thumbs. But this time our thumbs are going to come up. And we're going to bend that middle in. So you have it like this. Okay, but that's not finished. So now we're going to hold the middle, and we're going to pinch and bend the top. Turn it over, hold the middle, pinch and bend the top. So we're going to pinch it into a point and bend it up. Turn it over, hold the middle, pinch it into a point and bend it up. And that is a crescent like that. Now, I like to use my needle tool to refine my points. So I put my needle tool in the middle, and using my thumb as a guide, I round out more and get it more to a point. Turn it over, put it in the middle, use my thumb, press it into my thumb, and get those points just a little bit more refined. So something like that. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and glue it around the body I've already done one here to show you. So I glue it around the side of the chest. So this crescent will fit right there on the side. And if yours doesn't, that's okay. Maybe you need to get your needle tool and press it out some more, make it a little bit more long on one end or two, and shape it to where it goes around. But as long as it just kind of fits around that body area there, that'll be just fine. Okay, so I'm going to glue this down. If you are not using the backer card, you would just go ahead and put some glue on the side and glue it down. If you are using the backer card, put some glue on the side and then glue on the bottom there. Press it up against the body there and kind of get it even with the top as best as you can and bottom best you can. And this one you kind of have to hold there just a little bit because any curve wants to bounce back off of itself. So that looks like it's going to stay though. So we just let that dry. I kind of like that. A little bit more solid look. Okay, so we're going to let that dry while we go on and we're going to make the eyebrows. For the eyebrows, we are learning our new shape here. It is the shaped marquee. And we will, or I am actually going to be putting this onto my backer card, these shapes onto my backer card, and then cutting them out as well. Again, you don't have to. That's okay. Let's see here. So we take one full strip of the color that we're using, fold it in half, get it even at the end as best as we can. Get our scissors and get into the middle with our scissors, pull up and cut. So we have two strips here that we will be sizing into a 14 circle. So get our quilling tool and roll it up like that. Pop it off and then go to the 14, circle to the left and let it go. And that's going uncoiling really slowly. So let me just tease out that middle part there. Okay, grab our little angled pliers or tweezers, whatever we're calling them today, and glue that closed. So to do a shaped marquee, you actually start out with making a marquee. And a marquee is basically just 2 points on either end. So it's like making a teardrop, except you have basically 2 teardrops shapes in one, if that makes any sense. So you hold the middle and just like you would with a teardrop and make a point at one end. And then see it turns into a teardrop like that. But now you're going to hold the middle and make a point at the other end. And you will have 2 points on either end, and that's a marquee. Something to that effect like that. Now to make a shaped marquee, we're going to actually kind of turn it into almost an S-like shape. So you can see here, one side will go down and one side will go up. So we just get our fingers on either side of the point. My right hand is going to go up and my left hand is going to go down. So we just take it and do that. And bend one side up, one side down. Or you can just hold this here and your left hand goes down. And then that is a shaped marquee. And that is what we use for the eyebrow. So I'm going to glue this on to my backer card. Again, because these shapes tend to come undone. They come a little bit loose. So I'm going to put that there. Doesn't matter where it goes. You're going to be cutting it out. Try to get as much, I got too much glue. Get that excess glue off. It's hard to cut through dried glue like that. Okay, let's see if I can get that. There we go. That should work. Now again, I keep saying it, but you don't have to use this backer card. You can just use complete transparent shapes. That's perfectly fine. Okay, so that's one eyebrow. Let's go ahead and make the other one. Let's practice that shaped marquee again. You can do both points at the same time. I was just kind of trying to explain it. So if you want to, you can just grab both ends, make a point, and that's a marquee. That's probably more simple than what I showed you before. But I was just trying to explain it a little bit better, the process. Okay, and then to make the shaped marquee, down, up. Like that, you just bend it. All right, and that is his other eyebrow. Do this on over here and let that dry. Now we can go on and making these cute little eyes. So to make the eye, we're going to need a tight coil of black and golden, just like this one here. So that will be one full strip of golden color and one full strip of black glued end to end, just like we've been doing. Black goes first, and we're going to roll this up into a very tight coil. So you're going to need your quilling tool, your glue gun, and that white gel pen that I showed you. Right, there we go. Now that's going to give us a coil. Pop it off and flatten it out. You can put it on the table. Be careful not to loosen it though. And flatten it out that way. And then put your finger in the middle and pull that tab. And then that just tightens everything up there. And that coil. Again, we want something that looks pretty solid to give us those nice big round owl eyes. All right. Glue that coil shut. And here we have two nice big round owl eyes. Now to give them the kawaii effect on the eyes, we're just going to draw some little highlights in there. Again, you don't have to do this. This is just something that I prefer doing. So just color in those highlights. Like that. The same on the other side. Something to that effect. There, like that. Okay. So I should have two eyes, like that and like that. Let's move on to making the beak and the feet. So to make the beak, you're going to need 3 strips of 4-inch orange. Your backer card, if you're using it, a circle guide, glue, the tweezers, and the quilling tool. And we take 1 strip, roll it up, pop it off, and then we're going to size this to an 11 circle. So put it into that circle. Now, it doesn't want to do it by itself. The smaller you go, or these middle ones here tend to need a lot more help getting it to the sized out to the correct circle size. But as long as you get it in there, that's fine. Pop it out, find the tab, and glue that. And my glue is wanting to stick today. It doesn't want to come out. Maybe it's because it's so cold. Is it cold where you are today? If you're watching this, I'm doing this in the middle of January. So it is cold where we are. I think right now, when I woke up this morning, it was 10 degrees. Yeah. And then right now, I think it's got up to a whopping balmy 20. So once you have your size 11 circle, go ahead and make that loose teardrop shape. And then that will be both what we're going to do for both his beak and his, well, I guess they're technically talons. Okay, so let's get our backer card and glue that on. So I think that's it. We've got our chest and wings, our eyebrows, beak, feet, and eyes. Yeah, all right. Well, let's go ahead and put them all together. Okay, so to start assembling, we're going to need to go ahead and cut out these shapes. And something that I didn't put on the tools list is an X-Acto knife. I don't know if y'all are familiar with what an X-Acto knife is, but it's a fine point, sharp knife that you can use to make intricate cuts. And I have a self-healing mat that I use if I'm going to use the X-Acto knife. So make sure you have some sort of protection underneath if you're going to use it. It may or may not require the X-Acto knife. I just have it just in case, because you can see, I don't know if you can see, but here in the valley where the heart is, it's a little bit difficult to get into, and maybe some of these edges down here might be a little bit more difficult to cut out just with plain scissors, but we'll give it a try. So I go ahead and if you're using the backer card, if you haven't, go ahead and fast forward. to where we do the assembly. But if you are using the packing card and cutting out these shapes, we just cut out the little square, and essentially we just cut it out. We go around the shape. So I think I am going to get the X-Acto knife just to get this little piece out here, because I can't get it with the scissors. So again, if you're doing this and you are a kiddo, you might want to get some adult supervision to help you with this. There we go. And see, it gets that piece out like that. It doesn't have to be here on the top as much. We want those wings to look more attached. So there's that, like that. So just cut it out as best you can. You know, if you don't have something like this, that's okay. Usually you can get in there with the scissors if you just keep hacking at it. Okay, so there's the chest and wings piece cut out, and you can see on the back here, it looks just like that. And you can trim up the edges if you want. Sorry, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist here when it comes to something like this. But you can trim up those edges just to make it look a little bit more refined. There we go. So that's that piece there. Okay. Clear that off. Now for the eyebrows, we just cut one of them out like that, the other out like that. And same thing, we just cut around them. So another trick that you could do is get your needle tool and you can burnish these edges down instead of using an X-Acto knife. So maybe you don't have an X-Acto knife, but you can soften up those edges with your needle tool and it will go into the crease or wherever it's going. It'll just kind of bend that paper to the back and along the edge, and you don't see it. So if you don't have an X-Acto knife, or you don't feel comfortable in using one, or if you're, a teen and you're using this, doing this project, maybe the needle tool might be something that would be more effective for you. Okay, then our two eyes will go there, like so. Okay. Now for the beak and the talons, all of that, all of the pieces. So now let's glue them all together. Okay, let's get the little chest here. And so I like to glue the eyes on first. first. Or no. I like to glue the beak on first. That's right. I like to glue the beak and the talons on first. So this one was my beak. So 2 pieces of glue on either side of that point. And then just lay it down and put it right into the top of that heart-shaped chest there. Yeah, here we go. Oh, I got it. I think I finally got it. Okay. So let's go on the bottom. Okay, so let's do the eyes. So I like to put the seam side kind of on top, if that's makes sense for where you drew your highlights. So we're going to put one there. So we're going to glue where the beak and the body would meet. Same thing on the other side. Seam is right there, so my highlights work out. Glue where the beak and the body meet. That is way too much glue. Goodness. Okay. Now for the eyebrows. Place one here, I believe, and one here, I believe. Let's see how that looks. Now this is where you can give your owl a little bit more character. You can make him, you can have it out here. You can have it in here where he's kind of scowling, squinting, even scowling at night. However you think, a little bit midway makes him a little bit more open and happy. So we just glue those onto the top of the eye. So wherever it meets in with that natural curve there is where we're going to put the glue. And same thing here. That natural curve goes right over that eye. I'm going to tilt it down a little bit just because I don't want him to look too angry. And as you can see, this owl here, the eyes and everything look different because my beak's different. So I made a wider beak here, so the eyes are going to come out wider. So, and the body's a little bit bigger. Probably because on my original I tended to squish a little bit more, whereas here I left it a little bit more open, fluffy. But that's okay. I mean, they all are unique. They all have their own personality. So this is our new owl. So let's put him on the peg, shall we? To put this owl onto the peg, you'll need your magnetic tape, your super glue. We don't have a paint pen this time because I am choosing to leave it in its natural state and its natural color. And you will cut your magnetic tape and or strip to fit the back of the peg. And since we don't have paint this time, we'll need to just hold it there and let it dry, as if we were actually painting the peg, but not painting the peg. Okay, so just like all the other ones, we take that tape off, put dots of super glue on down the middle of the magnetic strip. And if it's got a very bad curve on one end, tend to put a little bit more glue on those ends like that. Okay. Turn it over, find out which side you like best. For the front, I like this one, so I'll do that. Press down, just like all the other ones. Turn it over and press. Once our magnet is adhered, we can glue our owl to the top of the peg. Center them back on. I like to give enough room for the thumb up there. This one's a little bit, he's a big bird. Okay. There we are. Okay, well, I really hope that you enjoyed making this barn owl with me and going through the process of figuring some things out. So make sure that you stay tuned for the next video, which will be a chicken. And the chicken has two new shapes in it that we'll be learning. And it's a little bit more difficult than all of the other ones that we've done. So I saved it for last specifically because of that reason. So we have 4 under our belt now. I feel like on the 5th one, we could probably up our game a little bit and try this chicken out. All right, if you had any difficulty in making this, just remember, practice is the best of all instructors. Until next time.